Xu Dezhi with China Central Television. First, two quick questions. Do you mind to share where you are in the more specific location? Is that under evacuation or you're in a safe place? And you mentioned that many people, they are very frustrated at the evacuation orders. What about the staffers, your UNRWA staffers? What are their sentiment? Are they share the frustration with other people?
Yeah, look, I can answer. We're in Zawaida, in a part of Gaza called Zawaida, which is in the middle of the Gaza Strip. We have Nusayrat above us, Deir al-Balah below us, and the sea to the west. So we're in the middle area of Gaza, one of the few areas of this part of the Gaza Strip that hasn't been subject to evacuation orders over the past several months. I think part of the 11% of Gaza that hasn't been subject to those evacuation orders. That's where we are. I mean, fighting is close by. I've lost count of how many rockets, bombs, shells that we've heard over the course of the day. I would suggest several dozen, and every one of those is, likely to be a life lost or somebody facing lifelong injuries or losing property that they have spent decades building and investing in. And yeah, staff are deeply frustrated, deeply traumatized. I mean, this is a war like no other before that's being played out on everyone's social media, on everyone's television and phone screen, and they can see that the world knows that this is happening, and yet the world is not able to do anything about it. They want to know why the norms, the international norms that govern the work that they do as employees of a United Nations organization do not apply to them as human beings. These are the questions that they ask, questions for themselves, questions for their children, and it becomes increasingly difficult for us to answer those questions. What more to say?
Just a follow-up. You just mentioned that the space and ability for UNRWA to operate has become more and more constrained. I'm just wondering, do you still have plan for future operations at this point? And we ask this question many times, that there might be a time if this conflict continues, the evacuation orders continues, there might be a time that UN is not able to operate in Gaza. How far do you think we are here today from that point?
I mean, I'd say, first of all, I'd say we continue to operate as UNRWA day in, day out. The staff get up, most of them living in tents in the most abject conditions to serve their communities. That will continue for as long as is possible. People serving the communities, providing the most basic human services and humanity that they can to their fellow human beings. That will continue for as long as we are able to continue. I mean, UNRWA has gone through thick and thin over the past 75 years, but is such an important part of the service delivery infrastructure in Gaza that we will continue for as long as we are able to. The space shrinks, we adjust, we dust ourselves off, we reorient, but it's precisely the investments that the international community has made in UNRWA in terms of human capital, the staff, but also the services and the infrastructure and the systems that we have in place. It's precisely that allows us to continue providing these services in an environment of such abject conditions when everything is needed. UNRWA is uniquely placed, along with others, but unique with the support of others, but we are uniquely placed to meet the needs of the population. So if there ever comes a day when we're not able to continue, it would be an absolute catastrophe for the people who have nowhere else to turn for healthcare, for education, for water, for sanitation and for protection.
Hi, Steph. Evacuation orders in Gaza. We have counted that in the first 3 weeks in August, there are about 11 evacuation orders from Israeli military, which means less than 2 days for one evacuation order. And now Wikipedia even has a page dedicated to Gaza Strip evacuations. Does the Secretary General think the evacuation orders are what the Israel claimed that a protection of civilians in such a circumstances now?
We've counted 16.
In the first 3 weeks?
In August.
In August.
Okay.
Okay.
These evacuation orders, I think, as you've been told just this morning from various people, make our work nearly impossible. Part of protecting civilians is ensuring that civilians can eat, that people can wash themselves, they have access to medicine, they have access to the most basic needs that human beings need to survive.